What is the situation with Aion2’s monetization? Is it pay to win, or how pay to win is it? Let me explain to give you the full picture. NCSoft recently had its big Summer Festa showcase for Aion2, where they did two massive things. The first one being that they invited Fromis9, a famous K-pop group, to perform and exist in the game. To remind you to sub to the channel for more MMO and Aion2 content, and follow me on Twitch, where I stream MMO content daily. The second massive thing was their roadmap announcement, which included a big adjustment to their monetization. NCSoft has taken their two optional subs, which were previously $30 USD, then brought them together and combined them into a single optional sub for half the price in up to 30 days from 28. There is no longer any speculation as to what the West will get, because in a recent video, the Aion2 team joined alongside Krolon, the new lead at NC America for Aion2, officially confirmed that the global version will also have one optional sub for $15. This single optional sub includes all the same benefits from the previous two optional subs. This was a big thing I was critical on when they announced the original pricing, because it was plain and simply way too effing expensive. But does this fix Aion2’s monetization issues? The short answer is no, not entirely. I'm going to try and explain the monetization here in a condensed, easy to understand way. But if you're wondering, very simply, how pay to win is Aion2, and I had to give a one-sentence answer, I'd say the game's monetization is now relatively similar to Lost Ark. That should paint the closest picture. It went from being Lost Ark's monetization plus an insane subscription paywall to now just Lost Ark's monetization, which is pretty much consistent with most Korean MMO monetization. In fact, I'd side with Aion2 being less aggressive than Lost Ark now. So here's what we have currently with Aion2. We have a free-to-play baseline entry to the game, an optional sub for $15 that most people playing will feel isn't really optional, which I would agree with. Keep in mind the auction house is locked behind the optional sub. Then battle passes, anywhere from 1 to 3 at a time, that usually last for about 3 months. These battle passes, by the way, can be purchased with in-game gold, or Kina as they call it in Aion. I'm going to call it gold though, so people who don't play can better understand. Anyways, these battle passes are priced pretty reasonably, I would say. They're about 1,500 kuna each for the premium track, which is around 20 to 25 million gold right now. One single mid-game dungeon run, by the way, to give you guys a point of reference, nets you just over 1 million gold per run, and you can finish it in less than 10 minutes. Lastly, we have a premium currency to gold currency exchange, where players can buy premium currency with real money and sell it to other players for their gold, and vice versa. This is the biggest pay-to-win area that a lot of people in the West will have a problem with. Right now in Korea, however, the game is at a very acceptable level with pay-to-win in the eyes of Koreans. A lot of Koreans think the monetization is currently fine. No one's complaining. You may be thinking, hello, you can still buy gold. Let me clear something up really quick before we continue. Generally speaking, Koreans are very much against pay company to win. Games like Lost Ark and Aion2 don't get shit for their premium currency to gold currency exchanges, because Koreans are okay with it, which is pretty much more or less just legal in-game official RMT. The fact that they're swiping in their paid currency is going to a player and vice versa, a player can grind in the game and make premium currency by selling their gold, is an acceptable ecosystem in their eyes. The reason why there was a post-launch uproar was because NCSoft had listed pay-to-win cash shop items. Pay-to-win player-to-player exchange? That's okay. But cash shop items that give big progression advantages? That's not okay. If you see the cash shop right now, aside from the cosmetics, it's all convenience items being sold for premium currency, and there's not even that much of it. Things like storage, character slots, name change vouchers. This cash shop, specifically when compared to other games like Lost Ark, is way less aggressive. You don't see these regularly listed limited time packages that give big progression boosts like Lost Ark does. If you're looking at this as a Korean who's okay with premium currency to gold currency exchange, Aion2’s cash shop is very fair in your eyes. Hard to argue against that when, again, no one in Korea is actually complaining about the monetization right now. In the West, most of us just see this all as the same shit. It doesn't matter that our premium currency is going to another player. It's still pay to win. Anything that allows you to make purchases and gain an advantage in progression, whether it's to a player or not, is just almost always seen as bad. It's just a very different cultural viewpoint on the matter. Believe it or not, NCSoft would actually get shit from some people for removing their gold exchange system, because in Korea, there are a lot of people that actually want this system in their games, as cooked as that may sound. If you want my opinion on the matter, I just don't think this system works in the West if you are trying to garner or sustain a larger player base over a longer period of time, unless there is a hard cap or a ceiling to the character power that is reasonably reachable for a non-spending or a free-to-play player. Guild Wars 2 is an extreme example of this. If you can realistically hit that ceiling without swiping, not feel pressured into swiping, and you can hit that ceiling in a reasonable amount of time to the point where people start saying it's simply not worth it to swipe, then yeah, this is a system that can work in the West. But the argument can always be made the game would simply be better without any pay-for-currency system. And that's an argument that I quite frankly agree with. Regardless, I know for a fact that we are going to be hearing a lot of people from either side of the fence comparing Aion2’s monetization to WoW, since WoW also has the WoW token and a mandatory sub fee, plus box price. Just be sure to leave these debates in my comment section to push my videos algo in so that I can have some nice React content for Twitch. One thing I found interesting about this whole thing was NCSoft actually changing their game due to Western feedback. I have been told from some people at NCSoft before and after the announcement that our feedback was being heard and was a big part of the change. If you follow NCSoft games, you'll know that NC America historically hasn't really done shit. However, NC America is under new leadership now. JJ, who came from Pearl Abyss in late 2024, being the new CEO, with Krolon and Tico coming in from AGS earlier this year, also being in positions of power. I am of the belief that this new team spearheaded this change in sub price from $1 million a month to a much more reasonable $15. It takes an uproar from Korea for NCSoft to make significant changes to their game. As I mentioned before, no one was really complaining about the monetization so far in Korea. Then suddenly, out of nowhere, they announced that they are halving their prices despite still being a top 3 MMO in Korea. Shortly after, the global announcement was made. Yeah, NC America, I'm pretty sure the new sub prices came from you guys, so good job on pushing for this. However, I still do think the game is pay to win and could drastically improve its chances at being a legitimate long-term game for more people if you simply remove the ability to purchase gold. So yeah, I hope the picture is a bit more clear now. The reason why I said the monetization is similar to Lost Ark earlier is because Lost Ark is another PvE MMO where you can purchase currency and push for more power. And the two games are actually structurally similar. A PvE dungeon raid focused theme park MMO. If you swipe, it'll be damn expensive, but it can get you there. There being access to higher level dungeons and raids earlier than others. However, the two main reasons why I do think there's less pay to win pressure in Aion 2 compared to Lost Ark is because one, the cash up itself is way less aggressive, where Lost Ark constantly has these huge limited progression packages you can buy that juices you up a ton. And two, as a non-spender, if you play a ton, you can power creep all the content and pump. To give you a point of reference, this image is showing DPS numbers from players playing Aion 2. This isn't the entire population of Aion 2 in Korea, but it does track anyone using this third-party program, along with everyone that was in that person's party. And there are a lot of people that use this, so the sample size is huge. As you can see, 980k to 1 million combat power is the tippity top, with assassins leading at 1.8 million average DPS. My friend, who is a non-spender, sub-only, is in the 940 to 960 bracket. There are 9.65 million samples, with 6,602 samples that were registered in gear brackets above him, which makes for 0.00678%, so not very many. Also, if we further look into the data, the highest parse that has been registered as of today is this Gladiator at just under 4.3 million DPS. This player is 955k combat power and is in the same bracket as my non-spender friend. This guy named Honey, who is almost always the highest overall parser across all classes and gear brackets, the Glad literally overtook him today from the recording of this video, is also at 924k combat power. Here's the thing though, these top parses are in dungeons against bosses that are cleared in under 30 seconds. See what I mean about the power creep? Aion2’s vertical progression is designed in a way that allows players to essentially power creep all the content, assuming you either whale out or play enough. We can talk about this subject in more detail maybe in another video, the power creeping that is, but this is at least how it ties to the pay to win talk. Aion2 is a PvE focused game. However, it does have a decent bit of PvP content. If you're a PvP main, the pay to win elements will feel more aggressive. Here's the explanation. There is PvP gear and PvE gear in this game. In order to push your gear higher, you need to PvE in order to do so. In order to PvE, you need PvE gear to do so, which means you'll need to more or less push up 2 sets of gear to be competitive in PvP. There are currently some PvE pieces that are BIS for PvP, but yeah, you get the picture. Outside of the monetization, there are some other hot topics when it comes to Aion2 I want to talk to you guys about, such as just the general gameplay stuff, the macro stuff, as well as the costumes and cosmetics in this game. Let's just say NCSoft did not fall short on delivering sexy costumes in this game. There will be a lot of people bothered by some of these outfits because some of these outfits are... Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Anyways, we will be diving into these topics and more when it comes to Aion2 on this channel, so don't forget to subscribe and follow me on Twitch for the 89th time I'm streaming MMO content daily on that platform. I will see you guys in the next video.